fantastic tutor, and I am so sorry we had to defer class. The network has been very crazy, and that's just it. Okay, without further ado, let's just go straight into it. Okay, so we have pool 124, pool 124, and we are taking organs of government. Okay, organs of government. Now, when we say organs of government, we're going to be talking about some certain things. Okay, now in Nigeria, where I hail from, we have the legislative. Okay, we have the judiciary and the what? Executive. Okay, they are the organs of government, and we're going to be talking about the legislative or legislature. Right? Legislature first. Now, as the earliest organ of government, the history of the legislature can be what? Traced to the classical days of the Greece and the Roman Empire. Okay, classical, okay, can be traced to the classical, okay, classical days of, I feel I'm choked. Let me clear out this space so I can have enough space to do my explanation. Okay, where's my duster? So since we are taking the legislature, I'm just going to take the legislature first. Now, all right, legislature. Just a moment. Now, this is said to be the earliest, all right, earliest organ of government. Earliest organ of government. Point one. All right. Now, it has its history traced. We can trace down the history of the legislature, okay, to the what? Classical Greece and Roman Empire. All right. Classical, okay, Greece and Roman Empire. All right. It can have its history traced to the classical. When we say classical, the old, all right, ancient Greek and Roman Empire. Now, the Roman Senate was exclusively, okay, composed of what? Leading aristocrats, all right, in the country, and were proudly referred to as the fathers of Rome. Okay, we are tracing the history of the legislature down to that of the classical Roman Empire, and now this Roman Empire we are referring to, their legislature is referred to as fathers of Rome. They are what? Composed of leading aristocrats. All right? Aristocrats. Okay? Referred to as fathers of Rome. Okay? Now, we have that as that. Now let's proceed. Just a moment. Now, the legislature is what we're talking about. So we are dissecting So now, speaking of which, a noble person, all right, aristocrats, okay, a member of aristocracy, all right, it's a group of people referred to as the nobles, okay. They are said to be a ruling class, all right, aristocrats. Now let's continue. Now, they are referred to as the father of Rome, okay. Now, the term Senate has since struck, and many have copied it into their constitutional framework. Now, let's take note of this. Just a moment. Now, we are talking about the history of the genealogy of legislature. Just like we have in Rome, we have aristocrats, all right, group of nobles. Okay, now we are talking about same legislature in British, all right, in British. Now in British we have them as House of Lords, all right, Senate. Senate in British is referred to as House of Lords. House of Lords. Okay. So we have that as that. Now, which is the oldest second chamber in the modern world? All right. This is said to be the oldest second chamber, all right, oldest second chamber in the modern world history. Now let's proceed. Now we have the types of legislature, okay. Now it is not new to us. I believe it is not new to us what the word legislature, or what the body legislature is charged with what responsibility. Now when we say legislature, they are related. When we say Senate, these are a group of people, or this is a body or an organization, an entity charged with the responsibility of what? Making laws, all right. Theirs is to make, all right. They are to make the law that guides, all right, that makes the constitution, that guides the activities and relationship of government and citizen in a state. They are the one responsible for that, all right. Okay, so we have that as legislature, and we said it is the earliest organ of government, and it can be traced down to what? The classical Greece and the Roman Empire, which have aristocrats, all right. And these aristocrats are referred to as a group of noble persons. It might be hereditary, it might be true lineage, and these noble aristocrats, or these aristocrats, are referred to as the fathers of Rome in the classical Rome Empire. And we also said the legislature also in British is referred to as the Senate, all right, which is the House of Lords, and it's said to be the oldest second chamber in modern world history. All right, now we have the types of legislature. Very quickly, we have just two types: uni and bicameral. Okay. We have unicameral and bicameral. Okay, now when we say unicameral, what are we talking about? Unicameral legislature. Okay, now we have the unicameral legislature is referred to as the legislature which consists of what? One chamber or one house. All right, one chamber. Okay, one house. All right, one chamber, one house. Okay, and here we have certain merits. We have merits of unicameral legislature is less expensive to run because it's just one chamber and one house, so it makes it less expensive to run. Okay, and we have the merit. It's said to be, okay, it is possible in a unicameral legislature to hasty laws, all right? Laws are being hasty. That's one of the disadvantages of the unicameral legislature. Now we have that as that. Now let's talk about the bicameral. Now the bicameral has to do with legislature is a reference to the government with what? Two legislative house or chamber. All right, two chambers slash house. While the unicameral has one chamber, one house. All right. Here we have two chambers, all right, and two house. Okay. So now let's proceed. Now, one of the merits is that the bicameral legislature has the advantage of wider representation. All right. They are widely represented. They are more representative. Okay. They are more representative in the bicameral system. So we have that as that. Now let's proceed. And one of the demerits is that the two-chamber legislature is very expensive to operate. All right, it has what we call financial outlay. Okay, so now let's proceed. Now, this one course I will have us finish this week. Okay, we have just 2 classes to go with this course today and the next class. Now we have the functions of the legislature. So we have functions. The first is they make law. They make law. That is their first primary function. All right. Now, the primary function of the legislature is to make laws. All right, laws for the good and well-being of the people, as well as for order and security of the states. Okay, they make law for the good and well-being of the citizen, and most importantly, to ensure security, all right, and orderliness in the states. Okay. Now, there is this thing called representative function. Now, representative function by the legislature is said to be the function of what? Elected representation by the people. All right? Individual members of the legislature in a democracy are what? Elected to represent who? The people that has elected them into power. All right. Now, each of these members represent their constituencies. Their constituencies. All right. They represent their constituencies, and that's how it works. Representative function. Okay. Now we have deliberative function. Now here there is keen deliberation. Now, for the reason it has been correctly described as, okay. Now they are they are responsible for the approval of the annual budget. Okay, I believe we all know what the annual budget signifies. Annual budgets, it deals with the budget that has to do with the activity, the spending of the country at large. All right. So we have that as that. They are also responsible for what? The amendment of the Constitution. Which is Constitution amendment. Okay, so we have that as that. Now they also approve annual the approved annual budget. Okay, so we have that as that, and let's proceed. The network is kind of very poor. It's kind of very poor today. Now we have, now very quickly, we're going to look at the process of what? Of lawmaking. Okay. What is the process of lawmaking? There's a process before a law becomes a law. Before a law is generally accepted as a law, it goes through series of processes. Just like before, just like we said in psychology and philosophy of science, that before a theory becomes a theory, it has to go through a lot of scrutiny. It has to go through a lot of scrutiny before a law becomes a law. Alright, so I'm just going to, so that the distraction will not be there, put this on silent. Now, the process of lawmaking. We have there's something called the first process, which is the first, it's called what? The first reading. Okay. It's called the first reading. Just a moment. Now, the first reading is said to be a printed copy, all right, of the proposed bill is presented. Now, let me just say this. This is when the intended law, before it only becomes a law. Good afternoon, sir. Yes. Same thing here, ma. The network is very bad. Same thing here, ma. Sorry about that. It's also the same thing here. It's the same thing I am facing here. And that's why the class was deferred. It's the same thing here, ma. The network is pretty poor today. So let's just now, before a law becomes a law, it is first referred to as a bill. All right, so it is when it has gone through the necessary processes and it has received acknowledgement and approval through all these processes, and when it becomes a law. But during that process, whereby going through the scrutiny and reviewing, okay, it is still referred to as a bill. Now let's continue. Now, as a bill, it is referred to as a printed copy. Okay, the first reading is when it is printed and written and submitted. All right, it is printed, okay, proposed and submitted through the house, okay, to the clerk. Okay, law equals bill in bills become law. Let me put it that way. Bills becomes law when approved. So now the first reading is when now the bill is written. All right. Now the bill is what? Is written and presented. Okay, let me just read it. Is presented, right? The bill is presented to the House, the legislature, the House, by who? The clerk. Now, don't be surprised that you might be asked in the exam. Dash presents the what? The bill to the house. The clerk. All right? This is what it is. So now the clerk reads the short title of the bill to tell lawmakers, okay, to let lawmakers know what was received. All right? Now, this stage is what we refer to as the bill is being introduced, okay, with a title, and there will be no discussion on it. Now, let's continue. Now, we have the second reading. Now, this second reading is what we refer to as what? Full parliamentary debates. It is in the second reading. All right? We have full parliamentary. This is just an introduction. Okay? The house is being introduced. They are aware of something. But here is when they now start to consider, okay? They start to put into consideration the probability or the possibility of having a law, okay, of making the bill a law, perhaps. Now, we have parliamentary debates in the second reading. Now, the sponsor, the person that moved the motion, to be definitely to be a member of the house that might have moved the motion. Now, the person now who is behind, all right, is referred to as a sponsor. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. I'm seeing Samson. Okay, it's great to have you join us, Mr. Samson. Now, the second reading is when there's a full parliamentary debate. All right. Now, the sponsor, which is the person that might have moved the motion, okay, the sponsor of the bill, the sponsor, a bill is only having a sponsor. Okay, now the sponsor of the bill is one that explains the bill. Now, he will then move a motion that the bill is read to the second time. All right, the sponsor does that. And the debate and everything continues. Now we have the committee stage. What? The committee. When is PCR holding? Please, Mr. Sampson, there's a link behind this. There's a link in the description of this video. It's the link that takes you to the website, www.tutorial.com. Go to the website. You can reach me on my WhatsApp through the website. You see the button. You can reach me and we can discuss on that. So now we have the third stage, which is what? The committee. All right, committee. Now, the committee stage is said to be the next stage after the second reading. Now, there are types of committee, all right? There are two types. All right? Two types of what? Committee. Of committees, I beg your pardon. Now, in most parliaments, there are two types of committees. Now, we have the standing committee and a committee of the whole house. Okay? Standing and committee of the whole house. Now, a bill okay, he said he can't find it. Okay, Mr. Sampson, just go to your Chrome browser and type in the search engine, or in the search column, type www.tutorial.com, or you just search tutorial on Google or on your browser, tutor.io. Okay, or you can do www.tutor.com. It takes you to the website. All right. Don't expose your number. It's this is a live stream. You don't want to expose your number. Now we have now there's something called bill of technical or special nature. Bill of technical or special nature. Now, this kind of bill is what referred to the standing committee. Okay, this kind of bill is referred to the standing committee, bill of technical or special nature. All right. So, now we have aviation, we have education, okay, aviation, education, and foreign affairs. Foreign affairs. Okay, now, and we have the bill of standing committee. Okay, now we have that as that. Now we have the report stage. All right, number 4, report stage. Now this stage is said to be here. In this stage, the standing committee is in charge, right? And they report back to the House the outcome of what? Its deliberation. The outcome of its deliberation. Okay, now all these ones now they are still in the second stage. Okay, report stage. After there have been deliberation, after the second reading, and there have been all this deliberation, then the report stage. The report stage, they are all under this stage. Now this is where the House of what? House of Standing Committee gives updates on their deliberation. Then now we have the third reading. Now the third reading here is when the formality. Now third reading is a formality because it is the minor changes in the wording that is allowed. All right, the substance bill cannot be amended again. Just few changes. The words, okay, words are changed. Here, the bill itself cannot be amended here. Just few changes. All right. Now we have the joint. All right. We have the joints session. Now this session, okay, there are two houses, right? Joint session of the two houses will be, we said they are standing committee, and they are also committee of technical and special nature. Okay, so now these two houses will come together. Okay, they will still debate to reconcile any differences. All right. Now, between the two legislative houses in a bicameral legislature, such as United States of America or Nigeria, where we have bicameral, we run the bicameral system. So they all come together to discuss the any differences and discuss differences. Okay. Discuss differences, and we have the last part of it, which is the presidential accent of veto power. Now, if both houses accept the report, a clean copy signed by the clerk of the houses and endorsed by the speaker of the houses. Okay, now then the president of the senate submitted to what, to the president for his assent. Now first, after the whole thing, after they've agreed, clerk will sign, clerk of both houses will sign, followed by followed by the house of representatives, now the president, followed by what, the speaker of house of representative. After the clerks of two houses have signed, all right, it will now be endorsed, all right, endorsed, okay, endorsed by the speaker of the house of representative, all right, and the president of the senate, and president of senate, okay, and president of senate, then president of what, senate, and it does, now the person now submit it to the chief, the president of the state, then is the president of the senate to the president for his assent. So we have that as that. Wow, that is serious. Just a moment. We are done. We are done with the class already. I'm just about to round up. So we have that as that. So as you can see, it's a lot, the process of lawmaking, it's a lot. We said the first reading, which is the bill, is still, it is, the law is still referred to as a bill, okay, followed by the second, followed by the stages, the third reading, the joint session, and the veto power. All right, on this note, we're going to call it a wrap for today's class. Okay, we're going to call it a wrap for today's class. I hope you've been able to get a thing or two. For as many of us who are not on a private class, believe me, you are missing a lot. A lot is going down there. And if you wish to join, to get all these wonderful, amazing resources to enhance your study, you have to reach out to us so we can add you to the private class. And for as many of us who might be having issues with our TMEs and you are looking forward to having good grades, very well, you can as well reach out to us and we will definitely have you covered. Thank you very much, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in subsequent tutorials. Bye-bye.